Hello, and welcome back to Tyranny, where last episode we went and had a nice little heart-to-heart with Barrack of the Stone Shields. We also began Verse's companion quest, as well as we also talked to Tunon and gave him a status update, which was just Narat's doing weird shit, which Tunon agreed. But we're here to talk to Malphora to try and get more information as to who killed Verse's fellow Scarlet Furies. I'm not open for business, friend, and I'm not looking for trouble. Basilla in Lethian's Crossing expects me with the shipment shortly. Wouldn't want to keep her waiting. The merchant watches you warily as you approach, a heavy pack hanging from her shoulders. Soft and well-fed, this one, but look at her stance. She can handle herself. Verse takes the woman in with long, appraising gaze. Excuse me? The merchant blinks. Glares silently. You must have mistaken me for somebody else, I assure you. Oh, fine. The road to Stalwart is paved in iron. Verse sighs. The farms of Azure are mostly air. She nods with relief. Say nothing. And yet their papers aren't aflame. Sorry about the formalities. If word got back to the voices I was cutting corners on security, well, let's just say I prefer my tongue in my mouth and my bowels in my ear. Well, bowels, I guess. She shakes her head. You're the Fatebinder of the Mountain Spire, correct? I'm Malphora. She opens her hand out to you, palms out. What does Narat want us to know? Not one for foreplay, are you? Verse shakes her head. Right. Malphora glances between the two of you before her eyes settle on Verse. The man you're interested in calls himself Crocus. No idea whether that's his mother named him. Showed up in the crossing a few months back, picking fights and looking for rings. He ran afoul of the garrison, and they stomped the pants gravy out of him. That quieted him down for a bit, but when he started casting around for work again, he boasted of this victory against a band of Furies during the war. Well, that's not a smart thing to brag about. Very stupid, in fact. You'd think a story like that would scare off any potential employers, but Asia's never been the brightest ring on the rope. She shakes her head. Who's Asia? A cloth dealer originally out of Azure. Runs a circuit from the crossing to the Brothers, and down to the calmer edges of the Blade Grave. He hired Crocus and a few others last week, claiming he needed extra protection for his daughter. Why he had brought his daughter to the crossing in the first place, Overlord only knows. To Verse. Thoughts? Stick shits. It's not going to be easy to find a caravan between here and the Blade Grave. Verse curls her lip below her uneven teeth. Well, luckily for you, I'm very good at what I do. Malphora smiles and produces a scroll from her pack. He usually goes by Stalwart by way of the Ocean Spire, but he's cutting east to make time and to avoid the beasts. She wraps a knuckle on a thick black line. You'd best wait for him here at Hunter's Respite. She points to a position south of Haven. Thank you. Yeah, thanks. When we find this bastard, we'll open him balls to chin. I don't think that might be the smartest thing, but, sure. Well, you now know everything I know about this so-called Fury Slayer. If you have any other questions, you'd best ask someone else. Malphora bows informally at the waist. And so we go. Hunting down the killers, so we go. Hunting down a killer with a killer. Mythosis. Yes. My dear Fatebinder, it is a poorly kept secret that Bledenmark's job is more about killing threats before they become a problem. Official executions are really the minority of his duties. As I understand it, Kairos has long used Bledenmark as a preventative measure. Since he can move about the world rather freely and he can evade all but the most absurd powers, he's the perfect predator to send against wild talents. I'm sure few in the tiers have ever actively wondered why there have been seemingly so few Archons born this far west. I'm sure folks with the potential to be Archons have occurred in the tiers time and time again, but they're usually cut down by Bledenmark before the world hears of them. It's likely safe to assume Bledenmark has his eyes on you and orders to use his own judgment as to when to strike. I've known the old man for ages, and I'd strongly encourage you not to try and appeal to him with overt displays of loyalty. He has no stomach for sycophants. I sincerely believe he thinks every human being is a selfish, twisted knave, and there are those who are lying about it and those who accept what they are. No third type exists. So yes, I do think Bledenmark will one day have to come for you. As I said, you could always hide or end your life now, but where you're headed, conflict is likely inevitable. Ask about the Archons and how they've risen to power. Well, I appreciate the insight, and I'm honored by your vote of confidence. Your missive did, however, make mention of Graven Ash, how you've known him since before he wore the title of Archon of War. Can you tell me more about what you observed in his rise to power? If I am indeed an Archon, it is safe to say I wasn't born knowing what I can or cannot do, and it stands to reason I might learn something from the stories of the other Archons. A tall, thin man in bronze and leather scrutinizes your approach, hand on the hilt of his blade. That's far enough, stranger. Oi, Crocus, we've got company. His voice comes out low and rough, a tears accented growl. A massive man answers the lookout's cry, his approach marked by a pronounced swagger. Crocus rests a massive axe on one broad shoulder. His hair seems to have migrated largely from his scalp to his chin. The veins at his temples stand out against his deeply tanned skin. Besides Cario here, I've got another entire squad behind me. Experienced warriors and all. So I'm left wondering, who the fuck are you? Well, I'm Fatebinder Ethan Drake, but, more importantly, this is verse. And I'm about to dedicate your head open. Justice for my Fury sisters. She grins hungrily. Oh shit! To arms! To arms! The mercenary blinks rapidly as recollection sits in.
This will be fun.
We're already not allies with the Bronze Brotherhood, so I'm not worried about kicking your shit.
Damn thing is pierce cloth.
I'm terrible at this. How am I not dead?
Damn thing couldn't pierce cloth.
Easy, simple, efficient. Hold! Hold for the love of Kairos! He clasps his chest, blood oozing beneath his fingers. Hold like you held when you and your friends killed my fucking sisters? For the love of Kairos, indeed. Her words escape her clenched teeth in a hissed breath. She slips a small knife from her boot, and in a flash of bronze, open the fallen man's cheek. Hold! Please, wait. I'm not proud of what I did back then. I am a changed man, I swear it by the Overlord. I've got a wife now. She's asleep right over there. He points back towards the nearby tents and bedrolls. Well, if you're not proud of what you did, then why the fuck did you brag about it? I earn an honest living by the damn axe. I protect licensed traders. I'm gonna say what I said. You're not proud? You've been boasting about it all over Haven. What? No, you don't understand. I couldn't find work otherwise. I thought maybe I could win a few fights in the crossing to prove my mettle, but then the fucking guards there jumped me as a group. So I had to tell people about the Furies. It was talk about your sisters, or starve, and let my wife starve. He looks to Verse. So is this better than starving? Her boots come across. Down hard on his ankle, elicting an audible snap. The sound dissipates into his scream. Overlord, help me. I never wanted to hurt anyone. It was my damn job. I swore an oath to an Apex Lord because I wanted a bed and food, not because I thought Kairos would ever come to the tears. He sobs. The oath didn't just dissolve when your armies passed into the gate of judgment. I had to kill conscripted tearsmen by the gang, and yes, I helped kill your friends. His head droops, a pink froth of sweat, mucus, and blood dripping from the tip of his nose. Not friends, asshole. Sisters. Sisters, then. It wasn't my idea. Clatorius had the location. Sick bastard wanted to cook them with the flames. Arissa, she wanted to hunt Furies, wanted to head on a pike she could wave at her enemies before battle. I was just there following orders. You said Catorsis cooked people. Well, I never actually saw him eat someone, but I'm sure he did. You could see it in his eyes when he looked at you, that hunger. He was a sage, so maybe that explains it. Overlord knows what those scroll fuckers get to in their libraries. We took one of you alive, you know. What? What the fuck are you talking about? Her eyes widen. After you disappeared, we realized that one of your Furies was still alive. The big, bald one. Catorsis took her. Never saw her after. He's silenced by Verse's fist crunching on his skull. Liar! She punches him again. And again. Where's Catorsis now? I don't know! I swear by everything and everyone, I'd tell you if I knew. He probably died in the Edict of Fire. Serves him right. If not, well, he deserves the treatment more than me. Where can I find Arissa? After that Fate Binder negotiated peace, Arissa refused to let that truce apply to her. The crazy bitch couldn't lay down her spear. Yeah, damn right, you fuckers. Last I heard, she was down in the Blade Grave. Joined up with some of those stalwart shitheels, killing disfavored in the Overlord's endless storm. Here, he fumbles with a case by his side before offering a well-soiled parchment in his blood-slick fingers. This was from here. She wanted me to come and find her and take up arms again. I didn't write back. I've changed. I love the Overlord. Praise Kairos! Some orders you don't... Well... How do you want to play this verse? Well, this is a delicious tragedy, I'd give you that. Let's write it in a suitably bloody ending. She fingers the edge of her small bronze knife. I've sworn loyalty to Kairos. Go hunt Arissa. Go hunt Catorsis. Catorius. They're your true enemies. They're the ones who deserve your justice. He tries to push himself away from Verse, but his heels skid uselessly, plowing furrows into the bloody muck. Oh, don't worry, we will. Grasping his gore-matted beard, she jerks his chin upwards and places the knife against his exposed throat. Please. A bubble of thick pink mucus expands and contracts in his left nostril. Remain silent. This one's for Seeking Sheath. She rams the blade into his eye, twisting it roughly and digging it deeper into his skull as he screams. He bucks and spasms wildly. Seren puts a hand to her mouth, and turns away. Careful there. Once revenge starts to turn on you, the habit is hard to shake. Eb inhales sharply, a wicked smile crossing her face. Thanks, Fatebinder. She offers you a curt nod.
Urissa's next. Let's go find her.
She turns to go, but comes to a stop instead. She lets out a quiet sigh and looks back to you.
Seeking was special, you know.
Tell me about her.
Seeking was all dynamo. Short, with hair like moss on a stone and skin the color of the night sky. Laughed at everything, even insults.
She smiles wistfully.
She never stopped moving. If we camped, she paced the tents or palisades, always pushing us to get on.
She lets out a low chuckle.
Part of it was the gambling. People would stop taking her bets after a day or two. The first time she says she can put a javelin in an apple at 100 yards, a man puts rings down. The second time, he's willing to go double or nothing. The third, that's when he stops betting.
Oh, she sounds amazing.
Kairos' crooked cock, was she?
She echoes your laugh.
Crazy thing about Seeking? It wasn't raw talent. She practiced that shit. The spear work and the javelins, practiced every hour she wasn't sleeping or on assignment. She'd thread the sky with 3 or 4 javelins and dance towards her foe with a spear longer than she was tall. She'd knock a soldier's feet out from under him and let the javelin pin him to the ground. That's her name. Her spears found their marks as if they sought them.
Go on.
Her name meant more than the spear play. Seeking always sought, always looked for new things, new experiences, new stories, new men, new bits of lore. In summer, she'd collect stinging insects, fill thin clay jars with them, and smash them against her foes. No fight was ever even for Seeking. You either got the drop, or you got dropped.
Sounds like quite the fighter.
Thanks. You know, for listening.
Don't mention it. I'm always here for you all. Honestly, that's why I'm doing this. That's why I let you kill that man, because ordinarily I would be like, no, that's horrible and wrong. She shakes her head roughly as if clearing the fog from it.
Let's go. This oath-breaking scumsack won't hunt herself.
Agreed. The other two are the ones I'm more concerned about.
Right.
Yeah! You forgot about that shit, didn't you? His first notice is for the first fucking time. Oh, shit. Verse peers down over the sleeping girl, whose tightly curled hair is strewn haphazardly about her caramel brown features. She drops to a knee, checking over Kairos' captive. The girl's eyes flutter open, staring blankly, the pupils reducing her cloudy blonde irises to thin rings. Father? Where's Father? Her eyes close again. Her muscles remain entirely limp. Iace's daughter. What do you think? First lays her down gently, then stands up, looking to you. We'll leave her enough supplies, enough to get back to the crossing. First nods, and the two of you set a few skins of water and some dry rations near the girl's prone form. Well, there's fruit and grain in the cart too, and cloth to carry it, assuming she has any appetite left after seeing this slaughter. Let's go, Fatebinder. I'm sick of this place. Verse shakes her head. Yeah. No.
Destroy
Fuck.
them!
I didn't mean to fight you guys. Oh well.
This isn't working!
But this is an excellent example of why Ethan is not a good choice for Cyberpunk. Because, he's literally only doing this because of Verse. If it wasn't for Verse, he wouldn't be doing this.
Will do. On it. Get back here!
He wants perfect solutions and he won't get one.
Right.
The world of Tyranny is a broken, shattered one. But let's keep hunting down these fools. Well, Ethan Drake, this is the sort of questioning that can get you killed. Very little is known how Archons are born or come to power, and my long life has taught me that Kairos and the Archons prefer it this way. If the young and talented remain ever in the dark, well, the old and mighty can rule without challenge. I've heard of Ash. He will always be merely Ash to me, before Kairos renamed him and gave his legion that backhanded title. As a rebel, a grimy, illiterate partisan who was winning battles while his countrymen of the Northern Kingdom lost left and right. Ash was always a good leader, but he wasn't born able to mystically reach out and protect his soldiers. The earliest mention of it isn't even until the tail end of the Northern Conquest. And if you read the journals, they don't tell stories of grievous harm warded off by Ash's stern looks. Instead, they talk of his soldiers finding their fears and doubts lifted from them by Ash's presence. A careful reading suggests the ability to actively protect from physical harm came years later, as that bond grew, and more importantly, as his legend grew. That legend part is the key detail. In my understanding, an Archon's power is something that a self-fulfilling prophecy. The widespread perception of an Archon's power is the very thing that strengthens an Archon's power. So in Ash's case, he had some early inkling of a power, the ability to assuage the burdens of his men. And as he took on a mantle of power and became known all around Theratos as the next Archon of War, it soon became the ability to bear the physical burdens of his men, not just their fears and doubts. Thus, my advice to you is to act like an Archon. Take power where you can find it. Foster fear, foster love. Never walk through life anonymously, but rather live in the thoughts of your followers and in the anxieties of your enemies. And this is a good check. The Scarlet Chorus hates the fuck out of me. The Disfavored hate the fuck out of me. The Unbroken don't know how they feel about me. The Sages Guild don't know how they feel about me. The Bronze Brotherhood loves me, other than the fact that I did side against Rithomon. The Vendrian Guard adores me. The Forgebound adore me. The Stonestalker Tribe kind of don't like me a little bit. That's mostly because of Skills and Shadows meeting. Lethian's Crossing loves me. And the Stone Sea Villagers are neutral. Lanatree loves me. Barrack is conflicted. Barrack is very much conflicted, which is good because he used to hate my guts. Verse loves me. Ebb loves me. Kills and Shadow likes me. And Serin likes me as well. And I have, of course, a crapload of power with the Steadfast Insignia, the Bane Word, and Penumbra. Tunon, I've gained a great deal of his favor, although he has inklings of my inevitable betrayal. Graven Ash hates me very, very much, but he also respects me, at least a little bit. Narat is the same way. Bledenmark doesn't know how to feel about me either. But let's go and continue Versus Companion Quest. The The tumultuous winds of the Edict of Storms reduce visibility to an arm's length as you press against the headwinds and into the storm strand. Solushis materialize in the swirling detritus before you, the sound of their approach swallowed entirely by the raging gale. The shadows resolve into haggard warriors, attired in ragged leather and tarnished bronze. One man steps forward, pulling off his helm to reveal a grime-roughened face of deep umber cross-hatched with pale scars. Old stranger, you don't look like one of Ash's inbred handmaidens, but you're no scion of Stalwart. So, who are you? You can call me Ethan Drake. Ethan Drake? The Stormcaller. Well, I hope you have a damn good reason for showing your face in Stalwart. Weapons come to the ready from every warrior around him as he recovers his wits. Diverse, we're here. Ask your questions. Well, we want Orisa. Unless you want a few more scars on that ugly mug of yours, I suggest you hand her over. What an absolute paragon of tact. Serin's remark drips acid that makes your skin feel as if spiders crawl beneath it. Hollow threats don't bow the unbroken union of Stalwart. His soldiers ready their weapons and shields. If you think I intend to surrender one of my soldiers to you, then it's a misunderstanding I'm only too willing to rectify. This doesn't have to come to violence. We just need to ask Orisa some questions. You look more prepared for murder than interrogation. Why should I let you speak to her? He looks again to his soldiers, who exchange among themselves expressions of morose recognition. Well, I take it from your glances that she's already dead. What? Oh, sorry. Sorry, headphones users. That was loud. What? Wait! Are you kidding me? Shit and double shit. Verse recoils. Very perceptive. I hope you agree that spilling blood over a dead woman serves no one. He gestures to you, then to his warriors. Kroskus claimed... well, no, I'm going to do this. If you've heard of me, well, then I take it you've heard about how I helped the Vendrian Guard defend Ascension Hall from disfavored and Chorus alike. I have. It suggests that the Overlord's pets squabble as intensely as the Younger Kingdoms. He sighs. In hope of future cooperation between our forces, what would you know of me? Is there anything you can tell us about her? Absolutely nothing. She's dead. We're not. I suggest you pack your gear and go. Well, thank you for what you've told us. Farewell. Wait! Ancestors forgive me. He sighs and pinches the bridge of his nose. Orisa kept these gloves with her. When she last left, she asked me to go get them to her sister, Celia. You'd be able to find her on her homestead near River's Break, in Old Apex. It'll be years before I'm able to fulfill that request. A frown shadows his features. You travel the tears? If I give them to you, can I trust, on your honor, mind you, to deliver the gloves to Celia? As Diocles presents the gloves, Versa's eyes widen, but she keeps her lips tightly clamped together. I'll see she gets them. I hope you do. Good luck, and safe travels, Fatebinder. Here's hoping you find what you seek. He presses a leather-wrapped bundle and flashes a gesture to his compatriots who peacefully depart. We managed to get through that without picking a fight. Verse turns from the retreating soldiers, resting a hand on a hip. She gingerly rests a hand on the bundled gloves. Fuck. I've missed these. You know these gloves? They belong to one of my Furies. Verse replaces the wrappings with care. So Orisa had a sister. Well, a sister for a sister, then. There's certainly poetry in it, right? Are you suggesting what I'm thinking you're suggesting? We need to find this Celia. She must know something about who Rissa ran with during the war, right? And who knows? Maybe she'll turn out to be someone in need of a good stabbing through the face. Vers smiles, her eyes glinting. If we do go to River's Break, we're not going in with weapons drawn, understood? Well, if that's how you want it, Binder. No killing until we know she deserves it. Or until she forces our hand. Either way. Come on, screw this place. She gestures towards the road. And just equipping Verse with the weapons she needs. Which it looks like I already have, so. To River's Break, I guess. Aside the road ahead, you spy a cart. The vehicle is abandoned, with one wheel broken free of its axle. Several crates and sacks remain piled on the small wagon, while a pair of boxes rest in the grass beside it. I will approach the cart. As you approach, you see the cart boasts 4 wheels, or did before the loss of the back left one, and a long leather tack and harness for a beastman hauler. One of the crates that fell into the ground broke open along its edge, and fruits have spilled out on the ground. Examine further. You immediately notice the sundered hauler's harness, likely the result of a bladed weapon. The broken wheel, too, appears less the consequence of accident than a human endeavor. The splattering of dark, dried blood across the board cinches your suspicions that this cart came under attack. Yet, the goods remain. Prepare for an attack. You draw your weapon and enter a defensive crouch, peering towards the tree line in expectation of an ambush. Surely enough, you make out flickers of movement through the brush. The initiative is yours, however. Steal away to avoid the attack. You move along the road with haste, eyes always alert for an attack that doesn't come. You quickly leave the cart behind, and after putting a safe distance between you and the cart, you resume your journey. I'm not here to waste time on trivial fights.
Sorry, I can't.
An older woman tends to a small but verdant patch of farm. Plump gourds and vegetables of vine and fruit vie for soil and light within a fig tree, its branches drooping with what passes for abundance in the tears. The farmer notices your approach and takes up her shovel as if it were a spear, favoring her left arm with a wince. "Careful, stranger. I'm no easy mark, and have little worth in your time or blood." A few errant strands of thick gray hair, loosened from the band that tames the rest, frame her deeply lined face. Well, she may be old enough to be my mother, but she holds herself like a warrior trained. Nice farm. Thank you for the kindness. We're shared with my husband before he died. Not much to look at, but it keep the family fed. The woman's lips tighten. Compliments ain't answers, though. I ask again, what brings you here? She jabs slightly with the shovel. We seek Clea. Oh, Clea. Clea was my youngest. Why are you asking after her? She lowers the shovel slightly, her eyes widening slightly at the name. Was? Ah, shit. Don't tell me we're too late. I'll have you keep a civil tongue in your head, girl, while you're on my land. She jabs the shovel in Verse's direction as if she could seal the Fury's mouth with it. Sorry, ma'am. Verse blinks in surprise at her own words. You okay? Yeah, I'm fine. What happened to Clea? She narrows her eyes, her fingers tightening protectively around the shovel. Well, first things first. Call me Essa, daughter of Hesperia, and this is my homestead, granted to me by Queen Vendrian Atlanta. Alanta. In honor of my service, she swings the shovel's head to encompass the small plastered house and the abutting field. That's an introduction. You won the match? She points the shovel back towards you. Well, I'm Ethan Drake, Fatebinder of Tunon the Adjudicator. Essa's blue eyes widen in recognition. You're the Peacebinder, then. She favors you with a faint smile. I hope you know how much good people value what you did for the Queen in negotiating the surrender. It was a good deed done well. Well, I tried. To go on and defend the Vendrian Guard at Ascension Hall, well, that's the kind of torch that doesn't go out overnight. Might be a fool's quest to show up the Overlord's Archons, but that doesn't mean it weren't appreciated. What do you need of me? She offers an open hand. Oh my god! Oh my god! This is awesome! This is awesome! She loves... Oh, 'cause he's Vendrian Guard, and I... Yeah! Rebel path going well, making friends. I'll follow your lead, Verse. I'm sorry, Essa, but Arissa has died. Verse frowns at her scarred hands and then glances away. Oh, Arissa, dear girl. Dear, stupid, blind, foolish, arrogant girl. A sob racks her shrunken frame. How did it happen? She died in stalwart, aiding the Unbroken against the forces of Kairos. It's my fault. I raised those girls on the romance of war, on tales of bloodying the bastard Tyranny and pushing back Azure. How was I to know your armies would come in their lifetimes, that the gates of judgment wouldn't hold, or that you'd stride into the tears of the man of stone who could step clean over a curtain wall? Even girls like mine couldn't stand a Kairos. There ain't been nothing like that in the Northern Shadow before, able to crush mountains and call earthquakes from a scrap of Valium. There ain't no fighting that, I told them. They didn't listen. Oh, damn them. Of all the damn fool things I told them, the only thing they didn't hear was what mattered. Well, Verse? A mercenary out of Lethian's Crossing by the name of Crocus pointed us towards Arissa. He painted her a much more vicious killer than you have. Crocus? I ain't never heard the She pauses, recognition flickering behind her wide eyes. Bald, bearded man? Skin the color of bronze and thick as a beastman? Yeah, I knew him by a different name. Right lazy bastard by my reckoning. The only thing he put much effort in was lying his way into a meal and thong of rings. What justice is there if a man like that lives while my Arissa met the void? Well, there is justice. It was slow and terrible. Verse cracks her knuckles. Well, there's some comfort there. What do you know about, Catorius? Oh, the sage. Well, he was an older gentleman. Smarter than most. Like he had the whole citadel bouncing around in his head. A tad off in the way that magicians are. Eyes hungry as a flame. Not you're old and arrogant to help us single out one sage from all the others. You said you trained your daughters in the art of battle? Oh, aye. They're father were a good man, but more suited to farm work than war. She looks up sharply. If you're looking for someone to blame, I'd be that person. Well, I trained them, taught them the fox, the javelin, the spear, and the shield. And they used that knowledge against your precious archons and their armies. Hey, Essa, maybe you'd like to shut the fuck up now? Versa's lower lip twitches. What did you teach them about the Overlord? Well, that there's never been a graver threat to all of Taratus, and that Kairos represents the worst of powers of man or woman. That such an evil must be resisted at all costs, and by any means necessary. What? That directly contradicts what you said before. Aye. I changed my tune in my older, softer years. But as they growed up, I poisoned them against Kairos as thoroughly as I carved upon their own hearts. Is there anything you want to tell me? Well, naming a child for Kairos is a capital offense, ain't it? I imagine naming a pig for Kairos ain't no better. Care to meet Kairos the Overpig? He around back. You see what's happening, don't you, Fatebinder? Verse sighs, her shoulders sagging. You use all this food for yourself, or have you sold it to other people in the well? I sold them some. For rings, and without a Kairos damned license, too. I've come to a decision in this matter. What matter? There isn't a binder. There's no matter here, Binder. Please tell me you're not going through with this. This is your dance, Verse. Pick the tune. Really? Verse takes a step back, blinking rapidly. Considering her options, Verse sheathes her weapon and nods. We came here because Arissa, she killed one of my sisters. I always thought I needed to avenge them to make it right because I failed them. But talking to you, it's cleared some stuff up. I guess what I'm saying is I miss my sisters and you miss your daughters, and that's just the way of things. Essa nods numbly, turns, and shuffles towards her squat farmhouse. Verse releases a long sigh, bends down, and plucks at a round red tomato from a vine. Her thumb slides across its skin and presses lightly against it, dimpling the vegetable. She tosses it from hand to hand and turns to you. Are we done?
I'm sure Whispers would have something clever to say about frustrated ambitions.
Verse shakes her head and chuckles darkly.
You ever have a friend who almost never speaks, but then every once in a while, perfect word at the perfect time, and it's the only thing you remember? That was 3 Whispers. She was our wiry, flickering shadow with hair like crow's feathers. Preferred close-up work. That was her name, her 3 knives and the sound of air from a punctured lung. It's hard to remember stories about her because she never drew attention.
And yet?
Her old favorite. That I remember. She'd trick a soldier into gutting his own comrade, then open his throat while he was in shock. Beautiful move, and I saw her dance it 12 times. Whispers knew her histories and letters, knew borders and houses and heraldry. Even knew a few sigils and kept us from bleeding out more than once. Whispers and me, we were more than sisters sometimes. Not often, and nothing holding. But yeah, she read a body as easy as a scroll.
It sounds nice.
Was nice.
Let's go. Or actually, Arissa and Clea are dead. What does that mean for your sisters?
I'm sure Whispers would have something clever to... You ever have a friend who almost never speaks? She was our... It's, hard to remember story. Let's
leave this place. So, with that, we have completed versus companion quest, all in the one episode, which is good. And with that, because time is shorter than most this particular eve, I will see all of you in the next one. Y'all have a good day, and peace.